Americans love banana pudding. Easy, creamy, no-fuss vanilla pudding layered with store-bought or homemade vanilla wafers and sliced bananas is a must-have for the summer season. All the flavor without the fuss. If you can open a can, you can make this easy homemade banana pudding. I'm not much of a can of this and a box of that when it comes to cooking or baking, since I tend to bake from scratch. However, when it comes to banana pudding, I go back to the tried and true can of this and box of that version I had growing up, because it really is the best. My mom consistently gets requests for the same banana pudding she's made for years. I'm sharing a variation of her no-cook, egg-free, quick banana pudding that will make your life easier, everyone you know happier, and increase your friend list. Thanks, Mom, for this awesome, easy base recipe. For the ingredients, you'll need vanilla pudding mix, salt, vanilla, milk, sweetened condensed milk, whipped topping, bananas, and vanilla wafer cookies. I'm actually using homemade. Okay, we're gonna start with 1 large box of vanilla pudding. This is a 5.1 ounce. If you are using a smaller box, like the 3-ounce boxes, just get 2 of those. And in a bowl, you're gonna add the pudding mix. We're gonna whisk in just 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Anytime you're eating sweets, it's always good to add a little bit of salt. Just sort of balances out that sweet flavor. Do a little whisk. We're gonna measure out 2.5 cups of milk. And we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla to the milk. Again, I want that extra vanilla flavor. This is called banana pudding, but with vanilla wafers and vanilla pudding. Pour the milk and vanilla into the vanilla pudding. Did you know that most vanilla pudding, actually, they don't have vanilla. They have like a synthetic vanilla in it. So we want that more of a cleaner, natural vanilla. That's why I like to add vanilla to this recipe. Okay, whisk everything really well. We're gonna add 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and this is 14 ounces. We're gonna whisk the milk in with our pudding and our milk, regular milk. Once you have the sweetened condensed milk well whisked into the rest of these ingredients, we're gonna switch to a spatula and we're gonna fold in 12 ounces of whipped topping. Now, I really prefer the coconut whipped, but you can just use, you know, whatever brand you prefer would be fine, as long as it, you know, looks something like this. And since it's 12 ounces for me, that's gonna be about 1.5 containers. So you can just gauge by how your whipped topping is sold. And then we're just gonna fold in this whipped topping. All right, pudding is done. How easy was that? Now we get to assemble everything together. So it is pretty runny, but it will firm up as it sits in the refrigerator once you have everything assembled. You can use a large trifle dish, you can use small trifle dishes, or any dish that you want. We've even made this in Tupperware containers. I'm actually gonna do 2 small ones and then 1 large one today. And all you need is your pudding mixture, your cookies, and your bananas. You're gonna start by adding a little bit of pudding to your dish. And these little bitty ones, you don't want to put a lot because we want several layers in here. I'm using a ladle just because it's easier to get this wet pudding out. Then we're gonna add some cookies. You can crumble them up or you can just place them in the container. I'm gonna do a little overlay here. Here's a little one, we'll use that one. And then you're gonna add a layer of bananas to the top. You can make your bananas as thick or as thin as you want. And I do try to get a smooth layer, like an even layer. So I don't put a bunch of just bananas haphazardly in my banana pudding. Although it's okay, if you're running out of time, you just want to get it in there, then you do whatever was right for you. And I do like to push my fruit and cookies over to the edge just to make sure they can be seen. If you're not using a glass container, no matter what you do really. And then we just repeat. We're gonna go again, a little layer of pudding. We're gonna end with pudding, so we don't wanna make sure we put too much in here. Okay, let's add some cookies. We'll continue with our last layer of bananas. We're gonna finish off with another layer of pudding. Just cover it up, basically. Cover up your bananas. I'm gonna finish my individual trifles with a crumble of cookies. If you're interested in homemade vanilla wafers, check out my recipe linked below. And that's what I'm using, our homemade vanilla wafers. Notice how crunchy they are, just like the regular vanilla wafers from the store. And there you go. 2 individual servings of banana pudding. Now let's make the big trifle. For the big trifle, we're going to do the same as we did with the small ones. We're going to start with a layer of pudding at the bottom. Mainly just want enough so that you can see it. It's going to be our base. Okay, let's layer in some cookies. And let's add in our bananas. Okay, let's add a thicker layer of pudding. Okay, now for the cookies. Bananas. And another layer of pudding. Now we want to end this trifle dish with pudding, so make sure that you leave enough pudding in your container that you can top it off and then add some cookie crumble for decoration. Okay, our last layer of cookies. We're going to add our final layer of banana, and this banana is my 5th banana. So depending on how thin or thick you cut your bananas and depending on the size of your banana, you might need 4 to 6 bananas. If you're not a really big banana eater, you just want the mild flavor, then I would cut them thin, because sometimes I prefer to have thin bananas. It's totally up to you. Okay, time to finish up. We're going to add our last layer of pudding. Just finish off the rest of the pudding, and this is going to be the top of our dessert. You can add some cookie crumble. If you really wanted to show what kind of cookies were in here, you could add a whole 1 or 2 at the top. I'm going to clean off the rim of this just a bit so we have a clean dessert, clean looking dessert. And there you have it. You should let these sit in the fridge for a couple of hours before you actually dig into them. But what you see is what you get. You can see the nice layers here, the pudding, the cookies, the bananas. When you're making a trifle, always focus on putting those layers. Make sure you get them at the edge of the bowl so that you can see them. That way it's not just all pudding that you see as the pudding seeps down, that you can see everything else. Pretty good. I think your guests would enjoy having their individual serving of banana pudding, but of course the big one is gorgeous to look at. Store the pudding covered in the fridge for several days. The longer it sits, the softer the cookies become and the bananas will darken. If you're looking for a quick and easy summer dessert, I highly recommend this one because it really is super easy. It's great for casual cookouts, large gatherings, or small intimate dinner, particularly if you have single serving dishes. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and liking. Until next time, go bake the world.